I gcuim na híthe tluisiméids na Coisithe arsúl, ariaméids, ní ecimiids, ní fis cábhfuil a gúirt. I gcuim na híthe doracha is an uileán ní a suan, ariam teacht na Coisithe I lár a bhaile hiún. An daoine iad nach sonna dóibh nó anamna a búnc, nach even dóibh an tanad son a gcónaíod go bún. I gcuim na híthe doracha is cách in a chola súin, seach luisiam se na Coisithe, ag teacht as ag imacht a whim.
Liam S Gogan, a bannam do a cheannachar. Fille a bhí ann. Bhí mé gá bliain déag an uairhearnach a chonaic mé é. Is beag cuimhne atá an ise go méir. Is é an cuimhne is mó gom a bheith chuairt chuige na theach féin le máthair, maidinecha saharn agus a bheith géiste leis ag cur chóirde ar a bhac héin.
Liam Gogan tá an síl feici agad bail á dheart, fear iarsmolane, dramadáid, fille, fear an staidir ar leis go fiú.
Fuair Liam bás trocha bliain ó hin. Agus de réir mar atám féin ag dul níos, tá is gom go neachi sé a bhaimmarm I bhfad níos mó nach cheap mé roimhe seo. Is spéisial má álamach cén fáin saoil a bheith amhlaigh. Go bhfuil móran mar dearfa má chalí saoil Liam, le bratha gom féin san am láthair. Roinnt blianta ó hin, rinne mis ganán an seo léitrim, fu dhearthar léirscála ar bháltar agus spíra é cheannachar. Ní raibh mé ag smaoine bhar Liam ag an am. Cinnte níor bháltar é me cheannachar, ag seans go raibh sé na spíra. Ar ein chuí, cais sé an cud is mó dá héal ag crunúolalas agus ag tucailt I measc focail.
The Aircraft Air welcomes you on board. This is the 1100 hours train from Sligo to Dublin Conley.
Nuair a fuair sé bás I 1979, d'fhág sé ina dhiaidh bailliúchán 500,000 focail, ábhar de 8 lár Gaeilge béarla.
Tu go William dús páire, mar ba William a bhí ahir. Ba tína gnócha imleach líad le roinnt blianta, bhí Michelin a dhéanamhacha an san, sin an gnó bhí acá.
Agus an raibh Gaeilge sa teach?
Is beag Gaeilge a bhí imleach lia an uair sin, de sach an féhuís deag. Ach bhí an náisiúnta. Mar sin is dóilm tuisc náisiúntachas na chuig maithair le Gaeilge. Agus bhí Gaeilge álamige ó sinnéad an bhean fós de Valera. Sinnéad de Valera. Agus as sin chuis sé go dtí an Altscail. Agus dtíonn sé léan Celteach. Fálam Brachnis agus an seanna Gaeilge agus chomáile sin seandálaíocht. Das go raibh an seandálaíocht an bóthir go dtí an Eorlap. Mar bhí anna hímeige ins de Celtic, canas mar a hána dar ó irthar na hórpa. Agus lean sé lei sin rithe bheitha go léir.
When my dad died in 1979, he left behind him this collection of boxes, which had been growing and growing and growing over the years. In that was a collection of 500,000 words, that he had accumulated since 1950. That's nearly 30 years.
That's how it works. You've seen how it looks.
So I found that there then when he died, and I said, gosh, we'll have to do something about that. So about 2000, Mike got on to me, who moved into digital publishing in Britain. He said, why don't we do something about Grandad's dictionary? So I said, well, can you help out? Oh, he said, yes, we have great facilities here now for publishing in digital format. And if we can get the thing together, we'll go ahead with it. So we've been working together slowly ever since.
So the idea is that
when I started off, my primary aspiration was to do this in memory of Liam, because it had been very much part of his life for the best part of 30 years. And he had managed somehow or other to gain a whole lot of enthusiastic supporters. You know, it became a kind of symbol of who he was, I think, in our hearts. And it's there, it's in memory of Liam Gogan and his life and work.
In 1930, nuair a bhí sé 22 bliain d'aois, táwa Liam an bhall de Coisithe bunathe óglaí na hÉireann. Bhulla Owen Vicnail roníoch mar an chéad rúnaí íocha a bhí ag an agras. Bliain in dhéag sin, chuaigh sé ag obair mar cheandálaí I gceann dáras mhúra na himpreachta, an Iarstman náisiúnta.
Dálan chéidim gur tú héna chuman focail poblacht Republic. Cé mar a hála sin?
Well, hastig sé uam le haig má óráid má reachtra an Common Gaelic an bhliain níd bucéime. Agus furas amach gur poblachta a bhí agus na Celtic chéadacha. Bhí riachtacha agus bhí poblachtacha. Agus ní raibh éon ocail an Ireland ar poblacht. Cumas an focail poblacht bhúnla an focail riacht. Riacht, sin kingdom, public, sin ruled by the people, for the people.
Agus clacú leis a wacail.
Well, it's Hugus and Sunder, Sean McDermott, Kirsession, Kish Kane, Cadén Gaelic atá go to Republic is. Well, as a mission public. Danish is in Grover Halling, agus that's son of Honig say Inson
Forogra?
Forogra
in the public.
And Kate up at the town, public.
Ní raibh páirt a ghlacha ag Liam I gcúrsaí míleite mar gheall himpeiste window ina óige a dag ba chacha. Níor stop sin ó ghul go meracha I 1950 thóir arm den éirí amach. I Philadelphia, bhúil sé le ceannfort arm de chuid ambasáid na Gearmáine. Níor a bhisigh ag an bhainte sin go raibh teagmhil déanta ag Roger Casement leis na Gearmánaigh cheana féin. San éirí amach, léir ag Liam go luath a chumas mar spíre trí eolas míleite a bhreis teach ón trád do chuid choleachathe I gcompleacht na chabrach de óglaí na hÉireann.
Bhí anhuathagad ar na cineirí ar fad. Bhí anhuathagad ar an bíorsach.
In bíorsach bhí.
Cén seart duine bhí an?
A gomsa ar go léir. Ó rádaí daonatha go báí. Bhí na smaointe déanta amach raibh ré go maithige. Nuair phléascadar. Is cín go maithlam drach an déadla beor a hairamh dom rimláin cohanóir. Is tuigh dom glandaine a chospad leoid. Nuair chuig amach mar raiach an sníadáir chun dealamh ia den ní as mór do hós na tulanáldaí. Mór dag déir ar bór. Is glábhacht amrid anis. Bhuiile mór is tháinig as an dúirt de masagó, de duhrisiste dagan, fís an thiasig, glór ar gine, a luach an innicin gan smór, an crí gan scéil, an aganad lan bheo, ina dust dá gur, ag actnig go deo, is fuil a cléad, de gurta, deor ar deor, son a híre is séirseacht ile a fód.
Tris an éirí amach nuair maríog na cannery go léir, chuig na Bratnig, Lurg, aine gur fábhrach dan na smaointe sin agus de chuireadh sa phríosúna. Bhí sé sa phríosún le céta eile daoine a Frangach sa Bratain bheag.
I Frangach, nó an oldschool na Revlóide mar a tugad chéir. Ba chomhthríosúnach leis mícheola choláin agus fíor eile a bheith na geanairí na hóglaigh, roinnt blianta in dhiaidh sin. Ach, ní an léthireacht nó ar chuirsaí míleite amháin a bhí aird le Liam le linge thréimhse séimhí sa phríosún. Léiríonn litreacha a tháinig chun solas le ghearad, go raibh sé deagmháil le banóg dar banam mór na chéirbeisiig as cathair chorcaí. Chasach ar a chéile iad I méal átha an gcéirthaigh. Bhí orthú an cadrabh atartha chamad faoi rún, mar hastig go bhaire a chuirsaí manscoile a chríochnú sula ninseoidh siad do tuismothirí go raibh siad chun Liam a fósa.
My mother had won a scholarship to Queen's University to study teaching, but she dispensed with that gift and got married and came to Dublin, and they settled in Phibsborough. My grandfather gave them an apartment there, and he also gave them a shop. My father's parents had confectionery shops. They made their own sweets.
That shop and all the other shops in the Gogan network were also very much part of the logistical system of the IRA, to put it in rather grand terms, that there were munitions in several of those shops. Ammunition and weaponry. Liam is possibly best known for a short poem that he wrote because it went on all the school programs in Coisithe, and he wrote that in that shop, he told us, on a packing case. Apparently there was sort of a basement there, I presume for storage, and he was sitting there during the curfew at the time, and he could hear the footsteps overhead, and it created something in his imagination of footsteps. Where are they coming from? Where are they going? Where will they end up? And there's a lot of imagery and thoughtful expectation, as it were.
I gcuim na híthe cluisiimiad na Coisithe ar siúl, airíimiad ní eicimiad, ní fis cábhfuil a gúirt. I gcuim na híthe doracha is an uileán ní a suan, airíam teacht na Coisithe I lár a bhaile chiúin. An daoine iad nach sonna dóibh nó anamna a búnc, nach even dóibh an tanad son a gcónaíod go búin. I gcuim na híthe doracha is cách in a chola suain, seach luisiimse na Coisithe, ag teacht as ag imeacht a whim.
tre chiel de chud coró, de hiúlamar a réan, cuil lehan ghorum heoch an íorthar vodar lé. Níor chaintimar sa teol ach singe, taobh re taobh, a siúl gan sosa roing, gan cospa, seachas réalt. Réalt durbh dúil an óil dar daring céim géim, chun mochar taisneon tóg I dúdas vog na ngéag. De stadach ring da bhóig. Is bacchus doing sa chréas, rairc fantaseach dear óil, Gá chnábhlach béal re béal na lí sa chéanach chrón I lúb na scarta I réig. Is chasamar fé sción ó log na dínta mué. Is de chéimh mala broin a tríalam slí na gréamh de hangamar fadó, gan chlínamh béal re béal.
Cé có tábhachtach mar a bhí sé mar ile?
Fileán na háchtach is Liam Gogan ach níos táchtaína son fileán na bhaithe cé go bhfuil sé le jarúta agus níos móna le jarúta ag léthóirí agus criticóirí coimseir na Gaelinge. Héan agus Padraig Mac Piarish an tain bhirt I lí atá going ó aimseir na Haviochanna a bhí séhrú le bhéal an ard agus tréisbhá sin fíorsaigh diaad fará gur bé an tain ile a bhí séhrú leis na fihidí, sna truchadí agus isteach na dahadí a bhí séhrú chaidán an ard. Go dtí gur tháinig Martin ó Dirain an bhód ba an fille bear a bhí going sa bhéilge ó aimseir an fíorsaigh. Bhí sé géirigh teacht hanga a bheith in iarúint dá haulaíocht féin. Duine ón féin a bethe, duine neamhghanách, fear anna léanta a bhí a hocrocht a labhart mariolar tradiisiún an Renaissance fud na Hórapa, fear a Frankish, Idális, Germanis, Spánis a heilige, a diaatach na classicí a eistrú. Ní gná rinne bheann, dá bhrísin ní iarthach gná chaint, gná agus tanga léanta, tanga adúin, tanga sophisticúil, tanga uasal, I lís fiúhain atá in úsáide nach chud filíochta, ach bhí sé sin in iarúint dá héin.
An réilge, mar Elistrum I mogach tí cás ann go bríoch ag borra, is féachtar ort ón drithid chrín, féachtar is scíntar harat. Ní ar na súd a chean go hím, ach gáwas gan stríocha ad stothe. Is níl im róid ach réalt gan ív, is mé fé gríb ón doras. Dam héin is titse bar a chuí, go deog an tíochtid ruide. De bheitha héin id bhlá gan tíl, is ní bhein mar tím gan torra. En is sa dáin sin agus sin dáin a scríb sé go luan a héil, léiríonn sé, gur hiig sé go más deacracht an tionscna bhí curtha rive ag a héin. Bhí sé nós na naine eile san lún sin I chealamh an tanga, bhí siad ag stithe an bhláthe se, bhí siad a géirí an blá se, an rud álainn se a bhealaíad a chealamhú, agus hiig sé ce cho dachar agus a bhí sé sin, agus hiig sé chomá go méidir gur gan torra a bheoch sé ag an deire. So tá an rud a hálíonn sílam an sin dréirmar a héan na blianta raig agus dréirmar a ail sí an sin na leabhart. Bhí tionscnamh a bheochanna I gceist leis an gur chuige scríbhneoireachta a bhí aige. Agus cáinach ag an nám bhí léirheasanna dúirt go raibh an tanga sar tacar go raibh focail in úsáid aige nach neithnóch daoine focail thóg sé sart ó ionsaí litrithe agus mar sin agus bhí sé sin fíor ach lean sé aig leis an gur chuige sin níor aithric sé sart a chur chuige.
Tar éis bunú an Teirstad sa bhliain 1922. Cúig Liam ag obair san Iarslainn náisiúnta. Ag an am chéine, bhí sé chur folklór do théirmí altrachta le chéile don chéim bháisteachta. Chum sé focail nua architecture ar a dhíirse, ach mar a bunan is an focail poblacht níor ghlacha leis. Haring an séthir se duine de bhórscalaí na linge. An tathair páir go dunín a bhí ag obair ar a 8 lár féin sa leabharlann náisiúnta. Bhí is a go i gcónaí go raibh buint ag Liam le folklór danín. Ach bhí ceist dán ag gcónaí mada leis an aitheanta sa fuair sé sonna chuid oibre.
An tathair danín. Scuile méid go maith nuair a tháinig sé chuing a bhí mar inar gcónaí ar bmhóthar cabrach. Ach dúirt maithlam tréiste téil I lár na fihidí gur raibh sé I duine an obair leis féin. Dúirt sé am féin gur fiúháin ón litir A, F, G, mar sin de, gur bei sin a dhéon agar, an agar deireanach na litir go san. Agus nuair éireagar agus sin a dhéanamh, dúirt sé, well, the bar A, B, K agus D, A, B, C, D, a dhéanamh go maith, mar an cuid eile. Dar nó, ní hain sé sin leis na Text Society. Ach a gcónaí bhí meas an bhórlaige ar duine.
Nuair a fuair Liam bás I 1969, cuireadh a chuid pop air ag Gartlan choláiste na hOllscoile, baile ach lia. Ní raibh fáil ar na pop air go dtí le ghearad. Deir an Cartlan I líos sa seirtáil go bhfuil na cápéistí seo ar ceann de na bailiúchán is mó agus is samúla do bhachaisí. Tá súlagam go dúrthaigh siad léargas doing ar an nghail idir Liam agus Deneen. Dear Mr. Gogan, as the time for putting the dictionary into final form is approaching, it seems to me that I should make a specific recognition in the title page of your valuable service to me in the progress of this work. Hence, if you and the Council of the Irish Text Society are satisfied, I propose to say, compiled and edited by P.S. Deneen, assisted by Liam S Gogan. I am, my dear Mr. Gogan, sincerely yours, P.S. Deneen. 23rd of October, 1924. Scríobh siad I méarla.
Scríobh siad I méarla agus as gaeilge chomá. Well, tá an litir seo as béarla ach scríobh as gaeilge agus as béarla.
For Deneen Fragra on Irish Text Society. Achara, I've had a communication from Fitzgerald in which he said that he passed the O lettering for the cover. He also says, we are not prepared to alter our decision to have your name alone in the title page, and the words compiled and edited should be restored before your name. I am sincerely sorry for the exclusion of your name from the title page, and that for more reasons than one. As we covered so much ground, not unpleasantly, I should have a feeling of companionship in regarding the title page. I did all I could in the matter. The last letter I wrote included a eulogism of your high-mindedness and nobility of character and purpose. But certainly I said not a word that I did not sincerely believe. Best wishes to Moira, the children, all and self. PSD.
A scoláire de fuirigú is ní an é, a follanamh na nolúin is fír a fé, ó chinachas, ó ilúint, ó inslocht é, ó orm chirt arninise a trí I dhéigs. Nach cuimhan leat ar numardas bhí fiachar géir, le tarn tilad oclav is de éileh gael. Is conas mad a rinnemar le díhil clév, drang hochar ceart a hropanamh, hí tílte sléip. Ná lochtaí mé má bhranamart le cuiverske lé, má hamargad a scochanamh a guibh na lé, an chorithe, an cirithe, an cuivascar dhéan, is má orm leo mar chuideachtain a hí thar céad.
Feig na blianta a bhí Liam ag obair san Iarsamann, níor tugadh ard ar bith ar chuid in a haimine a bhíag Liam go páirsanta mada leis an Iarsamann féin. Mar hampla, níor ceadaíoch an tafadaí Gaeilge. Bhíodh sé féin agus an Ryan Idicus a bhí gceannas na hirsmanna ag an am, in ainis lena chéile I gcónaí. Lean an cuireann seo ar aghaidh go dtí an lá ar éirigh sé as a phost.
The greatest archaeologist of all came in the latter end of 1927, September 27, Adolf Marr. And Marr and Gogan, of course, didn't get on at all. Marr was an exacting international type archaeologist. But Gogan had done some good work in archaeology. Anyway, on the 1st of April, 1936, Marr would have been director by then. Gogan transferred and became keeper of the Art and Industrial Division.
1st of April.
Yeah, 1st of April.
Bhí duine éigean ag maga faoi.
Chúis maga ag gan hours.
So, yeah, because Liam really would have liked the job of Keeper of Antiquities. And Liam really felt that he was being blocked. He had been successively blocked from getting it, that there had been 3 appointments to the job in the time that he was assistant keeper.
Yeah.
You know, Fox. Bremer.
Yeah.
And then Marr.
Yeah, well, Fox was an Englishman, of course, who became later director of the National Museum in Cardiff, a very great Celtic archaeologist. But Fox there was some story about Fox having been threatened by somebody connected with the Irish revolutionary movement not to take up the post in Dublin. Fox never took up the post, never worked here.
Liam went to see him in Norfolk. Yeah, he went to visit him in Norfolk.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, Fox withdrew.
Yeah, yeah. He made him an offer he couldn't refuse, maybe, or something like that.
Nis chais blianta fadas an irsmal an náisiún ar nó Sean Daly who will callart ach dúirtú trá na tuairimí bhí agad faoi handálaíocht nar siad gona vested interests mar a thug dúirthabh. Céir bailach bhí geistead lei sin?
Bhí an takeadh gníach im conneh ó hasach ón bhína sé díag an le. Agus thugad ar trúr acranach isteach. An céad duine acu Sassanach. Bhúil mé leis I Sasanna agus ciras ón busté. Agus ní hamháin go ciras an Sassanach sin ón bust, ach ciras gach Sassanach eile in éon post muséum ón bust. An sunda cirag fear eile isteach, fear das, sé, scolára písach má, ach bhí sé anna leocalaach, fuair sé bás taobhstig de bliain. Agus an uair nach an sunda cirag fear as an Austria isteach, sin má, Adolf Má. Agus bhí mar anna cáú lena céile, ach mar sin féin dúirt sé am go luain a lá. Mr. Gogan, I can't understand how you would regard me as other than a usurper. Bhí sé fuscailte. Mar sin mise ná bach é sin, báló duine as Africa bheith sin comédiaach ná mise.
He was immediately sent abroad, and he thought that he was being sidelined, he was being gotten rid of.
I wouldn't have thought so, because Marr had this wonderful idea of using his connections, his network around Germany particularly, but also in Scandinavia and to a lesser extent France, to send out museum people to get good training and by exposure to the best practices of the time. And those practices, as they still are on the continent and in Scandinavia.
Tá na scríbaní tóca is na cabáin ina gcuireamh den óir, fé bhríomh ard nósacha, déadla de léir an slós. Is na mangarí fórsach a dlíoch a go dearí a siód, tréad lagaracht ceolta na norgáin narag don tló. Bhéalamh an Altas Museum atá filte sa cheó, tá pothraí deataí lantéirí na mochan a seo, a gairí is a casamh na gúrscí mór dimpel an dóim, is ag méadú an difin as léanaí do chlúdaí gach cló.
Tá tionach ranna leidir ag an Gearmánis agus ag fili na Gearmáine agus tá scéala go héin mar ar conas a tháinig sé ar a líocht na Gearmáine an chéadúir gur cura go dtí bhrangach sa bhreat an bheoga tréis éirí amach na cásca agus gur cura go mach stáilm na prísúnig chugaigh do chuid na Gearmáine le slí a dhéanamh dus na prísúnig a bhí take stachas éiring agus bhí cime Germánach treis coip de gánta rilke agant in dhéag agus sin in lón le háireachta bhí ag Liam é héin nuair a bhí sé sa ghéhanna dúirte agus gur chuir sé bhaim anna bhór agus lean tionachar na Germáine agus na Germáinise ina chud filíochta agus ina chud stadéir ina dhéisian na stáilm.
Mar a vector san linden na bosan na buí ar a seol, fé lampi geamthúlacha is rochaí ná slinsear an glór. Is na scálan na déana a dlúiseocht mar crochaí ar scód, fé scá gomh achjelva á ranta Friedrich der Gross. Agus mise mar iad son im hauls de banú dá dro, nach fistí cá dórfisí ai nó cá conar de jói. Taimhrah Berlínach de bhearí mo chúis as an nó, is de chuir mé le fáne in ábhéis an áris de hóis.
Bhí sé dul go Munich, Nuremberg agus Cologne. Agus thug sé sin go leir leis seise le gainn. Agus má bháthir 8 ar fad. Chum go leir leis go Munich. Agus bhí mar a caint gailge an am go leir. Dúirt sé sin inis tá míad ag dul thar lear. Leabhar míad as gailge an am go leir.
It was so completely different to our life in Ireland, and I can also remember that they bought Ariel a camera while we were in Germany, and when we were travelling by train from Nuremberg to Cologne, he took some photographs, and some of the officials told him that was verboten.
I was only 3 at the time, so it didn't make that much impression on me, but on the older children it was a wonderful experience. And then as a family experience, it was also wonderful because it gave us this sense that Europe was not a very, very distant place, that it was a place we could go and travel and meet people. And that to go there for work or for holidays or whatever, for study was just a normal thing to do. So the main trip in Germany ended up in Cologne, and we were staying in a hotel there, and I remember the name of the porter there, Piccolo Jopp was his name, but in his real life he was in the Nazi stormtroopers, I think, or the preliminary part of it. He wore his big brown shirt uniform, and when the German troops invaded the Rhineland in 1936, the whole of Cologne turned out to see them march through the city, and Piccolo Jopp was there, and I was hoisted up on his shoulders, and I had a very good bird's eye view of this massive military parade entering into the Rhineland, and for us it was a great occasion, and we thought it was a great idea that the Germans were getting back their territory robbed from them after World War I.
Tá mé an níos chéan inis is a bhí Liam ar thug sé féin agus mar a glán go dtí an chathair seo. Áit san na difriúil a bhí ann an uair sin, bhí easca an géal an uaint na nasantóirí agus na mionlach, go mór an cinenne giúdach. Bíoch nach féidir a rá gur natsach nó frithúdach é Liam. Bhí measagé ag an am ar dhul chun chéan na Gearmáine faoi Chamas Hitler.
Ní ra bhí going ceart cad a bhí ar siúil, bhí going nar hen na giúdig leis na daoine. Ach ní ach mar einsáis ar ggóir a dhéanamh ar aine. A chuáin go raibh mar sa tréim ag dul as an Gearmáin, agus gur thugad ar faoinearna go raibh chalín ciúdach agus anna agla ire. Mar sin thug má bháthir isteach adaring go léir. Mar bhí 8 a gcuine an agus líanamar an spás go léir choráiste bháin. Agus nuair a tháinig na Paulíní isteach de chuad ar thart agus na chuir ar isteach ar an gcailín sin.
Ba é airnam san ísiltí ar ceann scríomh Liam agus a chlán. Níor a bhisa chu ag an am go méid buint ag Liam leis an gcathair seo in achtar chugaí i gceann cúpla bliana. Tá go post nuad a Liam san iarslán náisiúnta nóair tháinig sé ar ais as an Ghearmáin in airth na mbliana 1936. Bhí sé anois ina chamádaí Alíonn agus Tionscail. Bhí is aige go maith nach raibh breag anois ar an bust a thaintigh sé. Chamádaí na seanir smí. Níor leidigh sé sin áfach an misneach a bhí ann i gcónaí dul i gcoinne na núdaras polítíochta.
He satirized the Fianna Fáil government. He became quite hostile to Fianna Fáil in the 30s and 40s and 50s when he saw their failure to develop the economy, to deal with emigration and to deal with unemployment. And he was very aware of that and just looked at them as a bunch of thickheads. You know? And so he wrote in his Irish poetry, he'd write about them in that way. He was forgetting that they could read Irish, or if they couldn't read it, their secretaries could, and they'd be reporting back to headquarters. So I think that also he managed to antagonize the powers that were at that time in terms of Irish politicians, and that they didn't promote his efforts, whatever they were, in his academic life.
Léontí ór gan isce a bhfuil na néalta dáte, tá an bád canálach liste ag imeacht réithí gan warrig, is fearr a stiúr a meta ag cuimhníthe gan áid. Anois tá an tárdach risint, is an locha dúach ar leatha, is gear go míon an tuile dá líonú caise ar caise, agus nochtaíonn fé waise an macare chun áard. Fé huinas ná cuistear a rai a ríis go ngáid, lictéir na daimhrithe bholamh, is fuireann cúpla craiste nach óil dóibh gáil is gaiste na bhargaí bhar áard. Ar éidean bhín an isce, siúd seanach croch na sailach, mar gréas a rinne tlisteach na méir ar hról buí dáte. Is ní clos ach tuairt an chapel, is fallaracht an bháid.
Cailg mo bháthir agus ní lebh gom ach ceithre bliana deag d'aois. Bhí Gá bliana is dachad ag féin nuair a fuair sí bás. Ní raibh is gom go raibh sí a fáil báis. Bhí is gom go raibh sí an bhráite ach go bhfeadh sí bás ní raibh an smaoinemh sin an echar gom.
When the illness was very serious, because my mother had been given 3 months to live, they didn't think she would last any longer. We were in Gormiston when my mother died. I had tidied her bed and settled her comfortably in the bed, and she had asked me for some orange juice, and I had gone downstairs to get it, and when I came back with the orange juice, my mother had tried to get out of bed, and she had had a hemorrhage, and I rushed down and called my father, and he came up very quickly, and he asked me would I go and call the doctor and the priest.
That devastated us all, but certainly for Liam it was a terrible tragedy, and I would guess that for a number of years after that he was devastated and very poor mental condition, you know, very sick and worried and anxious, and because I have that memory as a child of that those kind of feelings coming from him.
A bhliain nuair a cathu túid haid as báin a heimse de ríg, ba bheag de bheasa go dain I dia go main a cuí. De chuair sa fiáin nuair a thugas fé, de bhíos mar aine eile suirc, an trám a warig chríochnia sé, buid snaimthe méle gruim. Ba dhíreach I de chuaird dar nói, ach intan treol tred línt an spáis, de chradis tliamh anhain mastóir, da fágant Róm san más. An lás an féin de bhí an spéir gan irid alla níl dá seol, in áras éfa ag an gréan dar dig fé néide rós. Ach nuair de scar an ihe brat, finúir fé ranamh adarnaí, de hángais agus scobais leat iad chuirsa ban mo chrí.
Ar réan cogaigh, ní rá mar ar thaobh na breataine. Ní raibh is againn ceart chun thaobh go raibh an cogadh ar siúl. Ach bhí mar fábhrach don Gearmáin in san cogadh.
Éon phoblatálaach beagnach bhí siad ar réimh na Gearmáine. Mín tá seán éasca í tanna cháine is agus is a goin caríon na Gearmánig leis na giúdig. Ní raibh an tóla sin ná, ní raibh se go tínte. Agus bhíoh muid a ggéisteach le Lord Há agus mar sin dá. Bhí mar ag súil go múl fí hasanna. Mín smaoinigh níor bhain sannach 20 bliain tar éis cogan na Saoirse. Bhí na daoine beo fós. Bhí Gogan beo fós. Bhí na daoine a bhí a mohamín le ghead séideag beo fós. Is mar sin na daoine a chuid tríd cogan na nócrónach. Bhí beo fós.
Ceann na scéalte is aistí faoi Liam, bhuaineann sé le cara do chuid Charlie Russell. Chrid Russell sa Royal Flying Corps sa chéad cogaí damhanda agus bhí lámhaige I monú ar chóir an Téirstát. Tar éis teacht ar ais go héireann dó as Sasanna I meán fór 1944. Dúirt sé le Liam go raibh méadú mór an ngníomhíochtaí le feiceáil in éireannad áirithe sa tír sin. Ba é túram Russell go rabhas ag beartú ionsaí eitileán ar an ísiltír. Chomh luas a fuair sé amach, thug Liam an tolas seo de Edward Hempel, ambassador na Germania in Erin.
He did hint that at some stage in the war he had been able to give information to Hempel which might have helped the Germans not forestall but deal very thoroughly with some British attack on I suppose, the occupied continent.
The essence of this was that Liam and Russell in the Air Corps became sort of fast friends, and he left the Air Corps. Yeah, he went to work in England, but while in England, his trained eye with the Air Corps knew that something big was mounting, and he came across and told it to Liam. The minute he told it to Liam, Liam whisked him off out to Hempel, and Hempel, according to Liam, got it to Germany.
Having learned of a big enterprise of Montgomery's, an Orangeman, bigot, blower, and anti-American, I had this conveyed via Hempel to a suitable person with the inevitable result. As you have probably read A Bridge Too Far by Dubliner Ryan, you will have read the sequel to that event.
That is the essence, isn't it? That Liam's message got to another via Hempel. The British had been expecting no one in Market. They weren't expecting the type of opposition in Market Garden that they actually got. But Hempel's message meant, according to these sources, that the Germans were in position with Panzer and blew them out of the sky more or less in Market Garden. And it is well known now that Operation Market Garden, the Arnhem landing, was quite a disaster and that they were decimated.
Nimwegen Arnheim, mehr als 3 Fallschirmjägern ereilt der Tod, noch ehe sie den Boden berührt haben. Flammen stechen aus dem Rumpf.
Tubiste ba cha Arnhem donna Britannic. Chail si 2,000 as 9,000 fear. Níl sé sa léir áfach an raibh éon want ag ólas Liam lenar Harla. Níacha mé éon ionise sa chartlan I London nó I Merlin go raibh nó nach raibh. Is ag críalar argant an Gurnéal ó Dúgan nó go raibh an darnach cahal an fans a réach an tríd jaantar Arnhem nuair a churach túas leis an ansaí. Mar sin, dar leis, cahach go raibh réamholalas ag na Gearmánaigh. Ach, tá sanolaí eile a deir a bhallart.
It's often said, oh well, of course it was German Panzer Grenadiers whom the British faced at Arnhem. And yet in fact, in the first vital hours after the drop, that it wasn't really Panzer Grenadiers, it was a sort of ragtag of the usual mix of Luftwaffe people and signallers and trainees and all sorts of odd bods on the German side who were just happened to be around, who threw themselves into battle. And for 2 or 3 vital hours, they hold up the best of the British Airborne Division, who are fighting their way into Arnhem, until the Panzer Grenadiers can come in and stop them.
Cad a bhí ar intan Liam maidir leis an achtra seo. Ag féchan siar anis tá sé deachar a rá. Is fear a rá gur bé Arnhem A Bridge Too Far den na Sassnaigh. Ach, I nachát eile bhí strátéis míleite na Gearmáine ag titim sa chéile. Gan áras, dá muach na Britannia an cá. Bhéach ról níos suntasíocha I roinnt na Eorpa tar éis an cogaí. Ba é míon Liam an John náid a chur de Grim Heol.
Fairly soon after that, then, the revelations about the concentration camps came out. And I think they changed Liam's feelings about that war and the feelings of everybody else in our household, because we suddenly realized that the brave Hitler, who had taken on the world and so on, sent his armies to conquer Soviet Russia and take on the French and the British in particular, had been carrying out this policy of annihilation of the Jews. And That certainly drained us of any sense of support for Hitler and for the German effort in World War II.
Nuair a d'éirigh Liam as a fust san Iarslainn sna Coisithe, os glíoch dúirse eile dó. Fáil siach chúpla dáin leis sa chnúsach tábhachtach nua-bheirsiocht a chuir seán ó túma na chéile. Cheapach é ar bhór Iarslainn alíonna nua-aimseartha na hÉireann. Lean sé ar aghaidh comá leis an uachtlár a dtír an Irish Tech Society ar a dhéanamh mar agusín dagrán dunín. Ach, begear go raibh sé a ghuibhlindt leis an gcumann. Tás gur bhallaigh sé níos mó focail ná mar a bhíodar sásta ailsiú. Péis céala, chunig sé ar aghaidh ag bailiú focail ar feadh breis is 20 bliain go dtí an láir chaileach é.
Bhí sé dechar pléileis ná éireamh, agus is trú ar bhealach mar bhí a lán le tuairteaige ná éirigh a bhaint as. Ag beidir go raibh muidna céad lúnile ag díal as paci ar sínsir gus an bailach a roinneach leis thar na blianta. Agus rí léir go bhaigh sé gur denna é gáir air ag le critic ag le acadúil agus mar sin is meas gur bhain sé lá son a híal gur raibh an gailge le cur ais sa mard cathair.
Ní ra bhéin solásaige sa bhúsam ag deire agus de chábháil nóra é. Fún sé rís agus dúirt sé lem lá tréis na blianta an bhéadfach le dúint go bhfuil i marachtant le nóra níos fuide ná bhíamar le de bhain. Ach bhí ba leanán go ceart an bertacha. Ó, se, bhí cúpla ceart a bhíanta, bhí anna rá go dá chéile.
Finally, he met up with Nora O'Hee. I think he met her. He used to see her on the bus going into town, and eventually they made friends. They started chatting, and she fell for him. She was very fond of him. And for her, perhaps there were difficulties in the marriage early on, as it must be difficult adjusting to an older man. She was only 35, he was 65, I suppose. And but it worked out very well, and I can remember quite distinctly saying, when she herself came to be close to her own death, saying that the person she'd loved most in the world was Liam. And she hadn't have any doubts about that. And that she enjoyed every minute of the life she'd lived with him.
Above all, he was, to his very core, he was an Irishman in every way. I think that's to his credit. I think emphasis should be put on the amount of work he put into the Irish language. The help he gave Father Deneen in producing his dictionary, and the work that he continued until the day he died for the Irish language should be remembered above all.
Cath ma cheannaithe Liam S Gogan, saoil bra fallán gur bhain sé 9 mbliana is ceithre éithead amach. D'an sé gar do heisir gasúr agus d'anadar siúd gar dósan. Bhí sé an ngráil ina bheirt bhain céile ar a seall. Braham gomúr inis, an funnamh agus an tomáta sin lena ghlach sé le dúslan a héal farsanta agus gairme. Blas me sé mé féin de héal na palatíochta agus de héal na halína mar rinne sesin. Má hí mar scéal Liam gur dán cór leis an saoil a bhí thuas lena ling a héamhigh sé an palatíocht. Ach a ríos gur bí a chud oibre an dúslan bhó a chuir sé ribhe. I measc rudí eile, caitheann mé an ceach sin a thuairt lom a scéal a bheithe.